You're listening to Children's Health Checkup. I'm Scott Webb, and on this episode, we'll discuss water safety and drowning prevention with our expert Jesus Alderete, Injury Prevention Program Lead Coordinator and lead for the Children's Health Know Before You Go program. Thanks so much for joining me today, Jesus. We know that drowning is the leading cause of injury-related death for children ages 1 to 4 in the U.S. How can we as parents keep our kids safe around water and prevent drowning?
Well, let's get started with a little bit of statistics. The CDC does emphasize that it is the leading cause for kids under the age of 4, not only in the United States, but other countries as well. Just last week, we had a conference on water safety, National Drowning Prevention Alliance, and Australia, it's another country that has the same statistics as we do when it comes to drowning. So unfortunately, it is our younger kids under the age of 5 that are not just drowning, but unfortunately having an adverse reaction, fatalities, followed by kids under the age of 2. So one of the things that we've done for many, many years now, we try to let parents know to implement layers of protection. This is one of the ways that parents can retain some of the information when they are in and around the water on how to keep their kids safe. One would be, and always actively supervise your kid. It's not just being present in the same area, but actively watching over your kid, specifically for those kids that are not swimmers or don't have the right equipment. That's one layer of protection. The other one could be placing your kids in swimming lessons, having your kids' skills tested, being assessed for how good they do in and around the water. And if families have access to a backyard pool, implementing a non-climbable self-locking gate that covers the perimeter of the pool. So when there's no adult supervision, kids do not have access to the pool area.
Yeah, those are all great suggestions. And I want to talk about swimming lessons and how early children can begin. And I was just thinking back to around my kids. One was really good around water and the other one wasn't. And I'm sure there's just no one size fits all. But in general, how early can children begin taking swim lessons?
Every kid's different. It really varies on the comfort the kids develop in and around the water. It also depends the place where families take the kids to get their swimming assessment or their swimming lessons. Some can start as early as 6 months. If there are some facilities that start them younger, great. But absolutely, one of the things that families are always encouraged is to take them to have swimming lessons as early as possible. So then they learn how to be safe in and around the water.
So for families who are lucky enough to have pools at home, what are some of the ways that parents can keep the pool safe year-round? You mentioned one of them earlier, but let's go through that.
For those families that you had mentioned that have access to backyard pools, are definitely extending their living quarters to the backyard pool as soon as the weather permits. So one of the things that parents can do is make sure that they lock windows and doors that lead to the pool if they do not have a non-climbable fence leading to the pool. Active supervision, making sure that your kids are in a visible area where you can always watch over them. And it's not about allowing the kids to go to the pool and as a parent staying indoors and watching or listening to what's happening. It's actively, physically being in the same space and actively watching over them. Having the right equipment is the other one. The right equipment in and around the pool has a lot to do between a child having an adverse reaction during a submersion and being able to be safe properly. So a cell phone, shepherd's crook would be the other one, and absolutely a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket that fits the child's weight.
I think I know the answer to this, but what should parents or bystanders do if they notice that a child is struggling in the water at a pool or a lake? I mean, the obvious thing would be to help them, but I'm assuming that there are right ways and wrong ways to reach out and to provide assistance, right?
One of the first things that we always tell parents is learn how to recognize a drowning victim. We have this myth in our head that we created over years watching TV that a drowning is a very loud event where the victim is splashing and yelling for help, and on the contrary, it's a silent event. You will not hear the victim yell out for help. You could see them. It could easily be mistaken by a child playing and splashing around the water. So recognizing when somebody is in trouble in and around the water, it's definitely useful. Recognizing those telltales of a person struggling. The other one is recognizing where the safety equipment is in and around you. Shepherd's crook. If you don't know how to swim, we advise those those parents or any caregiver, as hard as it is to not jump in and go after the drowning victim, a drowning victim develops the strength sufficiently to be able to pull somebody down because they're fighting for their life. So they're going to grab to anything. So we advise parents to have the right equipment. It could be a shepherd's crook. It could be a pull noodle where they can just reach out. We call it reach, throw, don't go, meaning that you can reach and throw something to the drowning victim to pull them into safety rather than jumping in and, risking your life as well.
I'm just thinking about, movies and television and what you said there about just how drownings are usually portrayed in those sort of entertainment things. It does seem like it's always portrayed as a really loud event that everyone can tell that someone's drowning. But you're so right. It is a silent thing. And how do you know and how do you recognize the signs? It really interesting, helpful information, Jesus. Can we talk more about the approved equipment that parents should have around kids when they're swimming, whether it's at the lake or the pool or wherever they might be?
The best equipment that a child can wear, even good swimmers are at risk of drowning. Let's be upfront with this. There has been many cases where even professional swimmers have been exposed to these risks. So you can only imagine those kids that are just getting started in the water. So the best equipment that a child could ever wear is a life jacket. But not just any life jacket. If you have ever been to any of the stores, especially around spring or summer, you're going to start noticing that a lot of the stores fronts, they put the really nice, creative life jackets at the very front for families to purchase. And this is because they have the kid's favorite character or something that's trending. The unfortunate thing is, even as parents, when we feel that we're doing the right thing, we don't realize that we might be putting our kids in trouble based on the fact that we don't take the time to read all the instructions. The only guaranteed life jackets that a child can wear is a U.S. Coast Guard approved. Inside of the life jacket, it gives you a serial number and it's guaranteed to keep the user above water. It's a lot like a car seat. Car seats are designed for kids' height and weight. Life jackets are designed for specific weight. So when you see those kids jumping into the water and the life jacket pushes up against their head, pushing their head towards into the water, two things. One, the child is not wearing the proper life jacket. It's probably too big. And then the other one, not all the buckles might be properly tied and secure around the body.
Jesus, is there anything else that we need to tell parents about keeping their children safe around water?
We starting a new water season. So one of the best things that we can tell parents is rules before the pool. This is not applicable just to families with backyard pools. This is in general water safety. Rules pools indicating that parents should set those rules prior to going out into the water and having fun. Rule number 1, we tell parents, high five before you dive. Making sure that your child's asking your permission before they enter the water. This is an indicator for parents to be aware that their kids will be inside the water, which then in turn requires an adult active supervision. We call it a water watcher, somebody that's actively watching the kids. And if it's a pool party, not being distracted during the party, having a conversation and on their phone. It literally means somebody that's actively watching the kids, doing an expected time allotment. It doesn't have to be the same person all the time. They can rotate amongst adults, but always making sure that there's an adult watching over the kids when they're in and around the water. And of course, drowning, it's not exclusive to backyard pools or open waters. There has been a lot of incidents where kids are drowning in their bathtubs. So for those parents, they have younger kids under the age of 4, we advise them to get all the equipment necessary before you bathe your kid and always stay within arm's reach. The time that it takes for somebody to run to the door and answer, sign for a package or send a text or a conversation, well, in our heads, we think I'm going to be away for a minute. It can easily turn to 5-10 minutes. Every kid's different, but parents should know it only takes an inch of water for those kids to drown. An inch of water is enough to cover the kids' mouth and nose and prevent them from breathing.
That's Jesus Alderete with great information on how we can keep our kids safe near water this summer. And for more information, visit childrens.com/watersafety. And if you found this podcast helpful, please rate and review or share this episode and follow Children's Health on your social channels. This is Children's Health Checkup, a podcast from Children's Health. Thanks for listening.